Welcome to Alpha Recap, your after-hours market rundown from StockAlpha.ai. I'm glad you tuned in. Today we're unpacking AI distribution, chip momentum, and a wave of private capital moving into energy minerals. As always, if you have questions, you can reach us at StockAlpha.ai.
Thanks for having me. Lots to dig into from today's session. Some clear themes and a few cross-currents to watch.
Let's start with the top headlines. Quick version. OpenAI's Codex showed up on Amazon Bedrock, semiconductors had a volume-backed lift led by NVIDIA and Intel, and there was a notable family office partnership with Bank of America around mineral management. Matt, broad brush, what jumped out to you?
What really stands out here is distribution. OpenAI's coding model being available on Amazon's Bedrock platform was the structural story. Distribution matters because it tends to flow through into cloud consumption, which then pressures demand for GPUs and accelerators. Analysts noted a few sensitivity levers from the release. Inputs like about 43%, about 19.5%, and about 0.07% were mentioned as things modelers might stress test.
Right, and that linked pretty directly to action in chip stocks today.
Exactly. NVIDIA finished the day up about 4%, closing around $216.61 on roughly 184 million shares. Intel climbed nearly 3%, finishing around $84.99 on about 178 million shares. That kind of price and volume combo is a classic signal traders look for, not just a thin pop, but real demand behind the move.
Big move in chips.
Not what anyone expected.
Walk me through why the Bedrock Codex tie matters beyond a nice headline. Explain it simply.
Sure. Think of it this way. When an AI model becomes easy to access inside a major cloud platform, more developers and companies can actually use it. More usage means more compute hours run on cloud hardware, which translates into higher GPU utilization, more server cycles, and ultimately more revenue for cloud and hardware vendors. So distribution equals potential consumption. Analysts note that platform monetization, how Bedrock charges for usage, is the key variable. If usage ramps, that shows up in cloud AI services revenue and in third-party disclosures.
And what should listeners watch for in the follow-up?
Watch for Bedrock usage stats, any pricing or packaging announcements from Amazon or OpenAI, and early customer case studies or consumption metrics that hint at stickiness. Those things will help you map adoption into revenue models.
Okay, on to semiconductors. You use the phrase volume-backed. Can you unpack what that signals for momentum traders and for options markets?
Yeah, that tracks. When a stock moves on heavy volume, it suggests broad participation, not just a handful of traders moving price. For momentum players, sustained gains with continued heavy volume are confirmation. If volume dries up, the move could stall. On the options side, intraday volume like we saw tends to push implied volatility and option premiums higher, which recalibrates short-term strategies and liquidity conditions.
So tomorrow, the litmus test is whether NVIDIA and Intel keep the volume up.
Exactly. If NVIDIA sustains gains above today's pivot levels with follow-through volume, momentum signals strengthen. If it fades, that warns the run might be short-lived. Also keep an eye on any company commentary around AI-related bookings or product announcements that clarify revenue impact from AI workloads.
Switching gears, energy. There was a family office move into mineral management tied to Bank of America and a decade marker for Middle River Power. Why is this institutionalization of mineral interests meaningful?
When you step back and look at this, private capital professionalizing mineral and royalty management matters because it creates more predictable, royalty-like cash flows. That attracts yield-seeking institutional capital into energy, especially where cash flows are stable. The J. Cleo Thompson family office, partnering with Bank of America Private Bank, was framed as professionalizing mineral management and using some monetary figures as modeling anchors. Those details, once disclosed, will help analysts map how much is assets under management versus deployed capital.
And Middle River Power, marking 10 years and talking low carbon. Is that just PR? or something deeper?
Honestly, I was a bit surprised by this one. It's more than PR in the sense that project developers signaling lower carbon intensity can change the investor universe for those assets. Capital that wants cleaner generation exposure will look to projects with quantifiable carbon metrics. Over time, that flow can shift how public energy names are valued if private and project-level allocations grow.
Quick reactions. Regulatory noise also showed up today, yes?
Yes, Zentiva filed an appeal related to an EU wastewater decision, which they said was about defending access to affordable medicines. Legal appeals like that raise uncertainty and can create episodic volatility across the pharma complex. Meanwhile, a health tech nonprofit got named to a CMS Innovation Showcase, which could accelerate pilot opportunities in Medicare and Medicaid. So we saw both downside regulatory risk and upside policy validation in health tech in the same session.
Regulatory headlines. Always a wild card.
Right, and the other thing is that court dockets and regulator statements are immediate things to track. An appeal date or regulator guidance can change near-term risk profiles.
Let's hit analyst moves and short-term trade signals quickly.
KeyBank trimmed a price target on Paylocity, and that kind of coverage shift tends to cause short-term volatility and can prompt repositioning among institutions. Also, an inverse semiconductor leveraged fund rose about 4% on heavy volume, roughly 203 million shares traded, which highlights how leveraged products can amplify sector moves.
Short reaction? Interesting flows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we wrap, quick fast reads so listeners have a checklist going into tomorrow.
Quick bullets. OpenAI's Codex became available on Amazon Bedrock, which expands distribution. NVIDIA rose about 4% and Intel about 3% on heavy volume. The J. Cleo Thompson Family Office partnered with Bank of America Private Bank to manage mineral interests. Middle River Power celebrated 10 years and pushed low-carbon credentials. Zentiva filed an appeal on an EU wastewater decision. A health tech organization was selected for a CMS Innovation Showcase. And a leveraged semiconductor ETF moved up about 4% on heavy volume.
Perfect. Give us 3 clear takeaways for listeners to remember.
1. AI distribution begets hardware demand. The Bedrock Codex TIE is a distribution story that can push cloud compute consumption. 2. Private capital is professionalizing energy royalties and low-carbon projects, which can attract yield-oriented institutional flows into the energy complex. 3. Regulatory and analyst headlines remain active risk drivers, especially in pharma and health tech. Legal appeals and program endorsements can move specific names quickly.
And a reminder for everyone, this is informational only. We're not recommending buying, selling, or holding any security, and this isn't personalized investment advice. Analysts note trends and data listeners may consider when doing their own research.
Right. Data suggests these are themes to monitor, and momentum indicates where near-term trading interest was concentrated today.
Thanks for joining, Matt. Final thought?
Keep an eye on usage metrics for cloud AI platforms, volume confirmation in chip names, and follow-up disclosures on the Mineral Partnership. Those items will tell you whether today's moves are the start of a trend or a short-lived episode.
Great. If you have questions about anything we covered today, head to stockalpha.ai, where you can ask us directly and we'll answer live. For more market analysis and insights, visit stockalpha.ai. Thanks for listening to Alpha Recap. We'll see you next time after the market close.